Hey guys, I'm really excited to announce that registration is now open for the Self Storage Summit. So go to theselfstoragesummit.com. So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self Storage Show. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, how's it going? That's crazy hair going. I think we're centered. Good, sweet. How y'all doing? Sorry about the last couple of days not being able to get on live here. There's some, as always, there's always technical issues. That's how things go. The platform that uses LinkedIn Live didn't like Google Chrome for a little while, so they had to do some updates. So hey, we're back in business, hopefully. So make sure it's working, but I think we're good so far. So that's why I was gone for a couple of days. So enough of that. Anyway, so thanks a lot for joining me. The ones that are live, fantastic. Everyone else can watch later on. Make sure it's sounds working. We are okay. Sweet. Like I said, with these LinkedIn Lives, just kind of come in, and it's all revolves around self-storage. Obviously, that's all I do. It's all I know. I'm the storage nerd. So there you go. I actually created a graphic for that for other days, so I'll have to show you that later on. I was bored, so why not? Yeah, so that's kind of the format. Just come on here each day, just whenever I can, hopefully, be as consistent as possible when everything works. And just talk about a topic on storage, and hopefully it can help spark a little bit in what you're doing in your own business, or any kind of questions like that. You can always reach out to me, and we'll take it from there. So today, any kind of topics are always just what's going on at the moment. And anyway, I was doing a consulting call yesterday, just quickly. I do these 30-minute consulting calls off and on. And basically, it was just someone that was asking me to pretty much just justify letting a manager go. They're having a lot of almost guilt, really, around doing that. So, for storage, I always say I love the managers to death, and it's for storage. It's a lot of times it's a one-man show. You can have reliefs, I get that, but for the most part, it's usually one manager that's really carrying the load for that multi-million-dollar business, and it's a big decision. And I see a lot of times that you're taking the time, the energy, and training, and get a manager in there, and a lot of times they do great. It's more often than not, sometimes when the longer it goes, and they've been around for a long time, and it's just that's just a staple. That's just my manager here at this site. That a lot of times that's when someone's kind of guilt kind of comes up, when it's like, well, I think it's time to move on. I think things are slacking, things are slipping. I think we're going to be making a change. And hey, I'm totally guilty of that as well. I'll give you some examples, but of hanging on too long sometimes to a storage manager that at that point sometimes can be doing more harm than good. So I know you managers listen to this, you're probably all curse me out right now. But no, if you're doing a great job and you enjoy your job, everything's fine. Okay, it's what I've seen in my experience is a lot of times that people have been around for a long time, and this is career kind of a thing, that a lot of times you can hit that stage, you hit a wall, I don't know what you want to call it, but you just kind of hit that point where almost like you're burnt out. Maybe that's a good word for it. Just you're burnt out in the storage game, and then that starts affecting your business and your duties and the way you manage the facility. And of course, that starts hurting the bottom line. That starts hurting the business, and that starts hurting the owner's investments. And now you're not doing anybody a favor, even yourself. So that's really what I'm going to kind of getting boiling this down to is just knowing yourself, knowing what you have in a storage business, knowing what your goals are. Are you into this for a couple of years, moving on? Is it a stepping stone, or just really what you want to do for a long, long time? And I have some managers. Hey, they've been around for like 10 years, even more, and they love it. And that's great. That's fantastic. They still do a great job. I'm just kind of also speaking to the owners out there as well, that sometimes you feel loyalty. At times you can kind of overlook a lot of red flags that are going on. So that just came up the last couple of days. Just thought I'd bring it up a little bit. Basically, like my philosophy anyway, since this is my show, I hire slow and fire fast. Quite frankly, that's kind of there's a title of the episode: hire slow and fire fast. It's taken me a while to get to that point. Quite frankly, I was very guilty over the years of being like second chance, third chance, fourth chance, fifth chance. Oh, he'll come around. I believe in him. And more often than not, usually when I end up firing somebody, it's like, yeah, I should have done that a long time ago. And hindsight's 2020, but really, that kind of philosophy is just in the last few years has served me well. Okay, take the time to really vet people during the hiring process. In fact, I should talk about that another episode. Really, kind of how I hire. It's a pain in the butt trying to hire and find the right person and weed through everybody. It really is. But if you do that part well, you're really setting yourself up for success later on, and not having to worry about, oh man, going through managers, trying to find the right fit. Okay, putting the hard work up front first to find the right manager saves you so much work on the back end. So I'll make a note of doing an episode just on my hiring processes, because there's some steps involved. It's kind of work. It's not just a blanket cattle call and see who comes and then talk on the phone and all right, you're hired. No, there's a lot more to it. So anyone's on, say hi, please. I like to know some people that are on live. So if you're on, say hi. I won't call you out. It makes me feel good. You kind of get back to people that take a lot longer than they should to hire. Now so you've probably heard me say the example. This is an extreme example, but it serves the point well. I was doing an audit in Arizona. That's all I'll say. And first off, usually when someone calls me to do an audit, usually right off the bat, something's a little up for them to be justifying having an audit come in. So they already know something's could be a little fishy, whether they want to admit it or not. Okay. So anyway, I get there. Owner's great guy. I mean, just good old boy. Okay. And he's like, I want you to meet my manager. Puts his arm around him. This is my right hand man. He's been there for, I think, like 10, 11 years. Something like that. It was a long time. At this same location. Not bouncing around, not in the industry, at this one location. That's pretty hard to find sometimes. Hey, Phil. All right, I'll call you out. And anyway, he was just, hyping this guy up, hyping this manager up. And I was like, cool. I was kind of feeding into it too. Like, oh, this manager's a rock star. Awesome. Anyway, it was literally 5 minutes after the owner left that I just simply asked a question of, I saw an auction receipt sitting on the desk. And you said, hey, you had a recent auction, huh? Oh, yeah, yep, just 3 or 4 days ago. All right, cool. Just total conversation. Like, oh, how many units you have go? I think I had like 6 or 7 go. And of course, how often do you do it? And he tells me, I think it was like twice a year, 3 times a year, something like that. It wasn't very often. That's a whole other story. And it was for $50 was the receipt. Like, oh, $50, huh? All right, cool. And at this point, I was doing my own auctions, so I know how it works with the auction guys, okay? And we just start chatting for a minute, and he flat out said, yeah, I had the same guy, got all the units. He just kept buying the units and buying the units. I'm like, oh, really? Didn't have much competition, huh? I was like, no. Like, can I see the receipts? And he started like, kind of stumbling. Like, yeah, well, just, what they go for. And he started naming some prices off. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, well, part of this audit process is going through your auctions, obviously. We're kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but, we're on the topic. I'm grabbing those receipts. I just want to verify a few things. So thanks a lot. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing here if you can gather those up. And he goes in the back and he starts kind of scrounging through a box. I'm like, that doesn't look good. Anyway, long story short, within another 5 minutes of me just looking on the computer while he was in the back doing what he was doing, I could just see right off the bat some red flags on the management summary, on just a quick audit report that you can pull. This was SiteLink, by the way, and that he had. I just looked at him like, oh, there's something going on here. And so I just quite flat out told him, hey, dude, I got a little bit of work here to do. Here, it's on me. If you don't mind, here's some money. Go grab a bite to eat, okay? And then just, I'll see you in a little bit. I just want to kind of get a lay of the land for a while, if you don't mind. I just wanted him out for a minute. Anyway, he left. I locked the doors, called the owner, told him I was going to fire his manager. The manager came back. I told him, you're fired. And I was just a consultant. I really had no role, no pull in doing that, actually, but I did, because there was enough that I found right off the bat. And again, long story short, ended up being, we found this guy was stealing about $6,000 a month from this location. And it was crazy. I mean, that was a record for me, catching that. And this guy had been there for how long? So just crazy. And again, it's one of those things where it's just, there was red flags. I wouldn't have been there in the first place if there was red flags. To call me down there to do an audit. So the owner knew. He knew something was up, whether he wanted to admit it or not. I just was just the one there to justify it and fire his butt in 5 seconds. So, yeah, that was a fun one. But like I said, I'm not going to point fingers because I've done the same thing. I had a site I managed here in Salt Lake, and she was new. It wasn't like a loyalty kind of thing, like she was been a manager for a long time, but I knew she was having a hard time. She did great as a manager. She was fantastic on collections. It was kind of a rougher area, let's put it that way. And she was fast. She's fantastic. But she told me, she goes, I'm kind of struggling here, but I'm going to give this job my full attention, and I'm working my butt off for you. I'm like, cool. That's all I ask. Well, smash cut to like a week later. And I could see something going on, like, the deposits weren't being made on time, things like that. Anyway, I made a surprise visit early in the morning to the site. And, well, there she was with her and her family living in the office at the site. I was like, oh, hell. Sorry. I mean, there's no coming back from that one. Bye, gotta go. Anyway, she left and had taken like 4 days worth of deposits with her. So that was a whole thing. I'm trying to get that from her. So again, I mean, it's even with a good hiring process, no one's perfect. You're just not. But it's a matter of, so there's some circumstances you're just not coming back from. Fired, you're gone, move on. Even if you don't have a backup, you'll figure it out. Some things you just got to be like, gotta go, cut your ties, get out of here. We'll figure it out. Okay. So a lot of times it's kind of, if you're district managers out there, owners, this happens a lot with mom and pop places where it has, an owner that is managing their facility. That's usually where I see this stuff happen over and over and over again. That they're just really buddy with the manager. And I'm all for being friends with managers. I think they're my great friends. They're great. But there's friendships and there's business. Okay, you can't blend the two. And that's usually why I see people getting in trouble. Is with these owners. They're like, this guy's been with me for a long time. Stuck by me, I'll stick by him. And they start overlooking a lot of the things that should be done in operations, with collections start slipping, deposits aren't being made on time, they're coming in late, leaving early, not getting the phone calls, that kind of stuff. And they just start seeing, well, I'll let it slide. And it's been years, and you just start thinking of all the lost rentals and the lost income and just the revenue that's being lost in general, just because lack of efficiencies, really. And man, you just kind of look back at it, and usually it ends up being you have the straw that broke the camel's back, and firing that person. Like, oh man, I should have done that a long time ago. So that's, if you're listening to this, and if I'm sparking anything in your head, going, yeah, I can kind of see that. Sit down and have an honest conversation with yourself to see if it might be time. Because, quite frankly, and I've maybe I shouldn't do this either, but I've kept in touch with people that I've become friends with them. I've kept in touch with the guys that I've fired. I have. And I'll hit them up, good old social media. I'll hit them up like, hey, how's it going? How you been? And more often than not, it's a good thing. I may not have been at the time. They don't see it as a favor at the time of like, oh, sorry, you're gone. But again, same kind of thing, being honest with yourself. They weren't happy in that role anymore either. They didn't want to leave, whether it be being scared, just fearful of what's next. No one likes change. Change sucks. And it's a lot of times people just stick around longer than they really want to either as well. And they're just, they're not enjoying the process. They're not enjoying the job anymore. And that's being reflective in the kind of performance that they're giving you. So I reached out to them like, hey, how's things going? And, they'll say it sucked for a little while afterward, but now I'm, hey, in this new role, this new job, loving it. And it all works out for the best. So a lot of times it's like you're doing them a favor. You're doing yourself a favor. It's just a matter of just doing it. And then people ask, why do they wait so long? And part of that comes with kind of the pride of hiring them in the first place. Hate to say that you were wrong. You're not wrong. No one's perfect when it comes to hiring. I mean, if they say that, they're lying to you. Hiring is probably the hardest thing there is, really, to find good managers and going through that process. So a lot of times they're just like, I don't want to go through that again. So kind of ask yourself, what can you do to make things easier? So you're not kind of playing those mind games with you of, oh man, I got to do the hiring, now I got to do all the training. Let's just stick with what we're doing right now. It's okay. Kind of have those justifications in your head. So ask yourself, what can you do to kind of make that process easier when it comes to hiring and having that kind of process in place? When you actually do hire them in the training, what can you do to make that training as efficient as possible? I've had some people going through that 30-day challenge I've done on my Facebook group. If you want to check it out, what is it? selfstoragecommunity.com. You can go to the Facebook group and I'll log you in. I have a little section there. It's called units. It's almost like a online course in Facebook. There's a units section, and I go through a bunch of stuff within like 5 days. And I've had a lot of people have their managers go through that as like a crash course in training. So kind of think of what can you do for yourself to make things easier, make that process easier when you do have to do the hiring and the training. What can you kind of automate to help you succeed and find the right manager? Because a lot of times that's a stumbling block. Just make that process as easier as possible, and you'll be up to making that hard choice of when it's time to move on. So that's really it. I mean, I could probably sit here and tell you horror stories of bad hires and waiting too long to fire and all that. And we all have those kind of stories. That's just, they're not just stories. That's any industry. It really is. But just, kind of having that conversation, looking at what you can do to make things easier to hire and make things easier to fire and, to retrain somebody else. And I've gotten, people ask me like, well, what's the average the time for, a storage manager to be my sites? Man, it runs the gamut. It really does. I've had, like I said, I have some managers have been around in the industry 10 years. They're only at my location now for going on a couple of years, but they've been in the industry for a long time. In fact, I have a couple that are like that. They just thoroughly enjoy the industry. They just thoroughly love dealing with customers, even though sometimes, man, I couldn't do it, but they love it. And they're anomalies, they're fantastic. Usually if I can get, a couple of years for somebody, great. that's for me, that's fantastic. Like I said, usually at that point, if at that point in their life where okay, they want to move on to something else, I totally get it. Wish you well. We've kind of both discussed that ahead of time that we know what kind of timeline is, so it's not a shock, that kind of a thing. And then at that point, they're kind of realized, oh, it's time to move on. And someone new comes in and kind of new blood, new energy, that kind of thing. So I look at it as a good thing of kind of getting new energy in there. But at the same time, if I have a great manager that's been there for a long time, but they're consistent and doing a fantastic job and they love what they're doing, well, great. Just don't be stupid about it. Do those audits, hold them accountable just like anybody else. Doing those audits, doing those checkups. Again, you're holding them accountable to themselves and to you, so you're doing everybody a favor. So that's kind of the bottom line, is just being honest with yourself on where you stand with your managers at your location, doing those audits, catch things, if anything comes up, red flags at the beginning, and that way you're not looking about hindsight 10 years later going, oops, that was a mistake. So that's the bottom line. So again, I kind of brushed over it real quick, but if you want to go to, I think I have it here. Yep. Wasn't planning on doing that, but yeah, selfstoragecommunity.com. That's the Facebook community group that I have. And once you join, you'll see in the units section, I have a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of resources like that for you. So a lot of people use that, like I said in the beginning, for training for new managers. And managers have been around for a long time. A lot of times I bring up stuff that kind of sparks things like, oh, I haven't done that before. So it's all there for you. It's a good resource. It was fun. I just kind of same thing. I think I did this live just like this, and I put it in a course. So there you go. I'm not going to tell you how long I might be there. In fact, by the time you listen to this is a podcast episode a year later, it might be gone. But it'll be around in some way, shape, or form. But for right now, hey, it's there for you guys to use. So again, let's wrap this up. I try to keep these around at least about 20 minutes, so we're right around there. So thanks so much, guys. I will do my best to keep these consistent. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow. All right, have a good day. Take care. Bye. Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.